top off this wonderful show with pizza and wings, we are going to come to some of our favorite segment. They're all our favorite, but the third. And with us, we have Dori Baker. Dori is with Farrell Distributing, and she is in their marketing department and been there for quite a few years.
And she has her own show on our website.
Okay. And her
Wait a minute, talk about her show for a second.
Oh, well, go ahead.
It is like part of your show.
It is part of our show.
Oh, it's wonderful. You should get on our website and watch it. Okay.
Don't you want to mention her name of her show?
What is it?
Happy Hour.
Happy Hour. I'm out of the loop. They don't keep me in the loop.
I guess you don't check the website.
Yeah, they don't keep me in the loop. But welcome, Dori.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
she started off, her first passion was craft beer, but now it's evolved to wine, a woman after my own heart. And she lives in Milton with her husband and her dog, Lady, a favorite name for our dogs. So welcome, Dori.
Thank you.
And you're going to walk
you.
us through the perfect wine and beer to go with the perfect pizza and the perfect wings. It's a perfect night.
Love it.
Okay.
I hope so.
All right.
It's really hard to follow Stefano. He's pretty wonderful. But I'm passionate about pizza. I'm passionate about wings. I was really excited to get an opportunity to kind of play around with some pairing ideas because, you know, that is kind of like what my function is, I suppose. And kind of the whole premise of doing any type of beverage pairing with food is they're supposed to enhance each other. It's not like one thing's dominating the other or vice versa in whatever respect, but it really is all about the enhancement and then also like just making it a more pleasurable experience. And if you're having alcohol and food, like it should be pleasurable, right? I mean, like that's like why we live. So, but I'm thinking about like all of the wonderful pizzas that Stefano can make and also about this amazing dough that he demonstrated for us. We definitely don't want to overshadow the dough or any of the toppings. But toppings is kind of where pairing gets tricky because, you know, like certain structures in beers and wines, like they just don't go together. It'll end up tasting flat or too tannic if it's a wine or too acidic. So it's really all about creating like a balance. So I racked my brain for a very, very long time over this. You know, pizza pairs with everything. So it makes it almost more challenging to kind of sit down and be like, what would be my standard recommendation? One beer, one wine for pizza. So.
And that was the past that we thought pizza could pair with everything, but now we know that we can.
Oh, you definitely
take
can.
it to the next level. Very
Definitely
easily.
can. But you know, toppings get tricky. You throw like banana peppers on there, I don't know what to do. So it's like, thankfully he didn't do that. I was a little concerned that he would.
All right.
But so my perfect pizza beer, and I'll fight you on this, I'm very excited about this pairing, is the Von Trapp Bohemian Style Pilsner. Oh,
The hills
now that's
are
the best
alive.
sound of the day.
The hills are alive.
So Von Trapp, brewed here in Stowe, Vermont, and yes, from the famous Von Trapp family of Sound of Music fame. Their brewery, so they've had the lodge in Stowe for a long time, but the brewery has only been in existence since 2010. And if you have an opportunity to visit, it is it's probably one of the nicest breweries I've ever seen. They spared no expense. The food is incredible. The beers are incredible. So their whole thing is they only do lagers. So Pilsner is a type of, this is for you. So Pilsner is a style of pale lager. So when you have beer, you have two different types, basically. You have an ale and you have a lager. And I'm actually really glad we talked about fermentation temperatures for the pizza, because that's really the difference. So lagers will use what they call bottom fermenting yeast. And essentially what that means is it takes longer to ferment and it needs to be fermented at a cooler temperature. Whereas ales, their top fermenting yeast, it goes a little bit faster, it's a little bit hotter. But what makes lagers, like the characteristic of lagers because of that fermentation, is it's very clean and crisp and has a little bit lighter body. So when you have the Bohemian style lager, you kind of get a little bit more of like a peppery citrus, but it's all very subtle. It's all very like well integrated into it. So you can't go wrong pairing any lager with pizza, in my opinion. But this one in particular I really like, and Von Trapp, they have their own water system. They want like the purity of the beer to just be like totally clean. So let's try it, guys. You guys have to tell me what you think. Cheers. Cheers.
All right.
I'm going to be
Sorry you
cheersing a
can't
lot
join
if we
us
keep
yet.
doing this. Can't help myself.
Oh, I'm not spitting.
Oh, nice.
I don't
Very
think we have to
nice.
spit the rest of this portion. But you see what I mean? Like it has a little bit of that pepperiness. So it's not just like a completely neutral beer. There's some complexity there. But it's not going to overpower anything. It's going to pair with everything. And it makes you want to take another sip.
The
Like
aroma,
all beers should.
the aroma kind of reminds me of the way our kitchen smells when we're making the dough. Like that yeasty, like estery thing going on. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, I'm doing well.
Very good.
So far, so good. All right.
Yeah.
All right, this is delicious.
You're
So-
not going to finish?
Well,
No. There you
here,
go. There you go.
here you go.
No,
Here,
no,
you want
no.
You guys sort
taste
that out
myself.
and place mine back here.
All right.
So, oh man, wine's a little bit trickier. Like, I've been studying wine for years. I think about wine a lot. I'm obsessed.
too.
I'm obsessed with it. I can't help myself. So it was 3 times harder trying to pick out the perfect pizza wine. Factoring in that there's like 1,000 different grape varietals that you could get a wine from like many different countries around the world. But you know, I'm gonna go with the classic. We can't really talk about pizza, and we can't say Italian wine of any kind would be the perfect pizza pairing wine. So the thing about Italian wine and pizza that makes such a happy couple is all Italian wines tend to have higher acidity, levels of tannins, which is like the drying sensation in your mouth, vary from grape to grape, but the Italians make wine to go with food. So if we're having a conversation about pizza, we should talk about Italian wine. Now, the wine that I chose after many hours of thought
And
is
tasting.
and tasting, yes, is the Michele Chiarlo Barbera d'Asti. So Barbera is the grape that this wine is made from, and it's native to a very small region in northwestern Italy, which you've probably heard of, called Piedmont. They're most famous for very big, heavy wines from Nebbiolo grape, Barolo, Barbaresco. Now we're starting to hear some things that we
favorites.
recognize. Oh yeah, perfect food wines. But you know, the thing with Barolos and Barbarescos is they're very high acid, very high tannin. Once you start getting into that high tannin, the pairing becomes a little bit trickier. So I'm not going to stand here and say that this Barolo will pair with everything, because it won't. Like, just won't. So the fun fact about producers in Piedmont, including Michele Chiarlo, is that most of them make a Barolo or a Barbaresco, but you know, it takes like years to age these wines before they're ready for release. So, you know, generate a little cash flow. They grow some
In
other
COVID,
things.
they were going through a lot of wine.
They were going through a lot of wine. So generate a little cash flow while they're waiting for their wines to mature. They're their bigger wines. They plant grapes like Barbera and Dolcetto, and I mean, there's endless amounts of grapes. So this is essentially their everyday wine. Producers make these wines to be released early. They're meant to be enjoyed fresh, and they're pretty straightforward. I like Barbera because it's a little bit on the lower tannin side compared to some other Italian grapes, and that just makes it a lot easier to pair. Sorry guys, I'm not pouring here. What's wrong with me?
Well, you can make him work.
Yeah, make me work.
He's done enough work already.
Make her work.
So is she.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Like
Her
my
fingers are
birthday.
raw
Thank you,
here.
Dory. Thank you.
Her fingers are raw over here.
Yeah, we have just
Yes.
that zesting. Thank
So I wanted to also kind of go with a wine, because I mean, I could list off like 10 more Italian varietals that would have a similar structure to Barbera. But I like this one because it's a little bit more fruit forward.
Oh, yeah.
And when people ask me, hey, what red wine should I bring to Thanksgiving or something like that, I'm either going to tell you a Barbera or like a Côte de Rhone, because like everyone likes them. It's really not like complicated. You're not going to find that one person be like, oh, what is this? If you don't like it, you're trying to
You're
find
not
ways
coming
not to
again.
like.
You're just not coming
You're not
again.
part of our show.
So I want to know what you guys think about this being my perfect pizza pairing.
It's gonna go with this one really, really
It would
good.
be very nice for this one.
Oh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
So smooth.
Yeah.
It would pair. It would not overshadow.
So
it would be a nice
you
And
feel the-
having it every day wouldn't be a problem.
No. Glass of wine tastes good
not
for
at all.
you, right?
All
That's what
day,
they
even.
say. Yeah. But you see, like you get a lot of the acidity, which is a little bit more subtle in this wine than a lot of Barberas, but like you're really not getting a lot of that
Yeah,
tannin.
it's very fruity.
Yeah, it's
I get
delicious.
like blueberry preserves almost. Yeah.
But this would go with that. It would go with like pepperoni. It would even go with like anything that had olives on it. Like
We'll go
pretty
with ice
standard.
cream, really.
That's a whole different segment.
That's a whole,
Oh my God. It's a whole different challenge.
a wine float.
I want to say I'm going to save this one.
All right, we got one
Yum.
for Tony. That's good.
Very nice.
Don't mix them up.
Okay.
No, mine are over here.
I'll put mine
Okay, yeah.
in the bag.
I'll hide mine behind the bourbon.
Yeah, right.
Went a little crazy with the glassware.
All right, and what do we have next?
So, oh man, the ultimate challenge for a wine professional is
Yeah.
pairing wine with wings. Been waiting for this day.
Especially buffalo wings.
I
What did you do?
Oh, I'm so excited. Actually, that was my favorite one that I picked out.
Nice.
So, I mean, I'm going to come right out there and say it. Like, I can't really think of an example where people would drink wine with buffalo wings, but I don't see why not. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're just going to get a bunch of sticky fingers on your glass.
Oh,
If you have a
yeah.
decent dishwasher, it should be fine.
It'd be like a Velcro glove. You just can't. You can have the whole bottle and it won't fall.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing with like, fried chicken or that baked chicken, that was awesome, by the way. I'm
Thanks.
definitely going to do that. Like, kind of pairs with everything on its own. You get the salt, you get the fat. All you really need is a higher acid wine. A lot of people pair sparkling wine with fried chicken, which champagne and like KFC is like probably the best like high-end, low-end pairing you could possibly do.
I like it.
KFC.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I know it's a cooking show, but
Hey,
if
I'm
you
into
know,
it.
high-end, low-end,
That's all right. I'll take a box because I got a box of wine.
Yeah.
So what I was
Box of
thinking
wine,
about
box
when
of
I was
chicken.
looking at Stefano's recipes is like, you got to look at the sauces for the pairings. So kind of the opposite of my perfect pizza pairing, I really kind of dissected the ingredients in the sauce. And my method, which may or may not be successful, we shall find out, was to kind of pick out the most challenging ingredient to pair to start.
Okay.
So I think that's a perfect segue into my buffalo wing sauce pairing. I'm very excited about that. So the trickiest ingredient to pair in buffalo sauce is the hot sauce itself. Spicy food with certain wines
And the
will
vinegar.
and the vinegar too. Yeah, good point. It'll either make the food taste spicier, or it'll make the wine taste more bitter. And that's kind of coming back to what I was saying about how tannins can sometimes. I mean, tannins are definitely helpful for like bigger foods like steak and stuff like that. You want a lot, but it makes it harder to kind of pair more. Well, definitely spicy things for sure. So one way to counteract the spice is
Okay.
to do a little bit of sweet. This is by no means a sweet wine. So what I paired with them is the Champollion Vouvray Le Fangeux. So Vouvray is a region
Oh, I like
in
this.
yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
She's still describing it.
She can sip it. It's fine.
Excited.
Calm down.
I'm calm. It's my birthday. I'm really calm.
There you go.
You'll be calmer in a minute.
This is so good.
Anyways, so Vouvray is a small region in France. It is along the Loire River Valley, which is the longest river in France. This is all more helpful with a map, which I don't have, sorry.
She does use a map during
I do
her
usually
show.
use a map in my show, so it's a little disappointing, but not enough space. But so this tiny region, the only thing they make is wine from Chenin Blanc. And Chenin Blanc is one of my favorite grapes because it is so versatile. It can be dry, it can be off dry, it can be sweet, it can be unctuous like dessert wine, it can be sparkling wine. And Champollion actually they only make Chenin Blanc, but they make all different styles. So they end up having quite a few wines in their book just by different styles. I picked the Le Fangeux because it is off dry. So you're getting a little bit of the sweetness, but the key with Chenin Blanc is it's naturally got really high acidity. So going right back to that acidity, salt, fat thing, it's perfect.
Yeah. Dig it.
All right, let me know what you think, Stefano.
Yeah, no, I think you're
These
spot
are
on.
very bold statements here.
Oh, this is delicious.
So
And
good.
it's got like just enough of that sweetness to kind of cut through the vinegar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys can't find Chenin Blanc at retailers, another option would be like an off-dry Riesling, which is a little bit more readily available. But another issue too, when you go into stores, most Chenin Blancs aren't labeled with a sweetness, so you'll probably just see Vouvray or Vouvray Sec. Sec you can always assume is dry. So it's best to just find a a wine retailer where you have a couple people that you know that can trust, and they'll tell you what's what. Off-dry Riesling is always a safe bet for spicy things too.
The ones who high-five you when you come in.
Yeah.
Remember we put that QR code on the labels? We should do that again. That way they can see your segment describing it.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right. Have your people call my people.
I'll have my people call your people.
No, that's what they did. And they would put the QR code, like in beverage bearing, you go up there with your phone, boom, went right to the video. So.
Those are shockingly hard to film. Like, I can stand here and talk to you, but like try to make me talk for like 20 seconds about one
Oh,
thing.
it's a riot.
Can't do it. Can't do it. It's so hard.
They were fun though.
So hard. All right, guys, I have no more glasses, so I'll do
We're
smaller
gonna drink
pours.
for the ball.
I'll do smaller pours for the next two. It's okay. It's only two more wines. It's not that bad.
We can pass the bottle.
Oh yeah, sure.
We
Not
don't have-
above passing the bottle.
Classic kind of show. It's a classic
It
kind
is.
of show. All right, next on the list.
Sandy, I appreciate you keeping things structured.
I'm
at
sorry.
Stoplight. Oh, I love it.
It's just,
I love it.
it's a
All right.
bad habit I have.
What's that?
I didn't bring my whistle though. Next,
Oh man, she has
we
a
once
whistle.
had
I
a
like
family.
that.
We had a family weekend. Whistle goes back. The kids were
Don't
little.
don't take away from her segment.
No,
But I
do
had
tell.
a whistle for the activities. Okay, everyone, and it kept things moving.
Hence, that's why they don't go on vacation with her.
And Tony hid the whistle after a couple hours. But go ahead, Dori. I don't mean to.
Oh, please don't
I
worry.
digress.
You think?
So the next sauce, the bee sting wing glaze, which is hard to say. This was the hardest one for me because all of the ingredients are hard to
lot
pair
going
with. The honey is hard to pair with because with sweetness, with wines, it could either kill the wine or kill the food. Like it's really challenging to pair wines with like chocolate or anything that's very sugary, very challenging. But then you got the chili flakes, so we have, again, the spice component, but a little bit less, I can work with that. And honestly, the gin botanicals, a little bit, but it's a little bit easier to do something with like aromatic spices. Honestly, the hardest thing is that tiny amount of soy sauce that you put in the sauce, which I know you're not really gonna taste, but you're gonna get the umami from the soy sauce, which is one of the hardest things to pair with wine. And the reason being is it kills most of the wines. It's just like you either have to, I'm taking a stab at it. But my whole thought process
Thank you.
was kind of making the umami complemented with the wine. So, pairing is pretty standard. You either try to contrast flavors or you try to complement flavors. So umami, I'm trying to complement. So I picked the Judith Beck Zweigelt. This is a biodynamic producer in Burgenland, Austria. Burgenland is one of the warmest regions in Austria, but Austria is kind of a cold place. Like they're usually growing white wine grapes, which can take a cooler climate. Zweigelt was actually developed by an Austrian scientist. I think it was in like the 1920s. It is a cross between two red grapes, Saint Laurent and Blaufränkisch, which are a little bit harder to ripen. So the whole goal with Zweigelt was to make a red wine that would readily ripen in their climate. Now it's one of the most planted red grapes in the country. I like it, and I like this particular producer. Like it's got like a lot of fruit, low tannins again, high acidity. We're getting some patterns here. Yep. Got a lot of fruit. But it also has this very distinctive earthiness. And this is a little bit to do with the producer, but it also has to do with the grape. Like I think if you couldn't find a Zweigelt on the shelf, something else you could look for to kind of match that flavor would be like a Carmenere from Chile, or even like a Languedoc red blend. Couple names to think of would be like a Corbière or a Minervois. These are very earthy, deep, fruity red wines that I think would hopefully work. So I want your professional opinion though. This is a tough one for me.
I'm digging the wine big time.
Whoa, dude.
I want to try it with the wing. And see what
I know.
happens.
Yeah.
That's where I'm really going to start to
I'm gonna
sweat.
put this behind the bourbon.
How do you feel about pet nats with savory food, like umami?
I like pet nats with savory food actually because like Honestly, for me, I'm a sparkling wine junkie, and Pat Nat kind of falls into that category. They just lend themselves very easily to pairing, and it's because of that acidity component. Yeah, because you know they'll harvest the grapes intentionally earlier, so they're not getting as much sugar. You're gonna get lower alcohol, which sometimes when you have higher alcohol wines, the heat from the alcohol can also be a pairing hiccup, if you will. But I'm pro Pet Nat.
Nice.
Pro Pet Nat fried chicken as well.
Yes.
Yes? Is this the one? Is this the one? Oh, you didn't even try the last one
No,
yet.
I want the last one.
Oh.
I just a little in this
yeah.
one, but then
You
I
might not
want
even
that
like
one
it.
in there. So this, when the pandemic shut us all down, this came home with me. Yeah, it's my best buddy.
Well used.
I named it Loretta.
That would
Loretta
not be
and
a
I
name I
spent
picked for
many a
wine
night
glass.
here. You were good to me, Loretta.
I have to keep
Oh,
drinking.
man.
Okay, we're ready.
Oh, I'm ready for you. All right, Derby Days wing pairing.
Derby Day.
Yes.
Derby Day.
Oddly enough, the bourbon isn't the hardest profile to match in that one. For me, it was definitely the fresh mint and then also the brown sugar. Because again, the sweetness can really kind of impact any type of pairing. And the mint, it's just such a powerful, strong flavor. It's hard to complement with the profiles in wine. So here, let me give you guys my next one. So I picked out Altos Ibéricos Crianza, and this is a Rioja from northern Spain. So Rioja, they're known for doing wines from Tempranillo grape, but it's, for me, this particular pairing is less, oh God, say when.
Good, good, good.
You're gonna drink that small amount? All right,
I
good
got
luck.
another glass
Good
over
luck,
here.
good luck.
I'm eyeballing.
So anyways, this pairing for me was less about the grape and the profiles from the grape, but more about the traditional winemaking in Rioja. So basically they have 3 levels of Tempranillo that you'll see on the shelf. So you have a Crianza, a Reserva, and a Gran Reserva. And they're all different aging with like oak. So they use a ton of oak. And that's really what I'm trying to get with the pairing is that oak profile. They also traditionally use American oak, which is a little bit unusual. But it's like, you know, it gets more of like a coconut flavor, and then you also get vanilla from the oak in the wine as well. And that's what I was thinking to complement the mint and the brown sugar. So, I mean, I picked the lowest oaked wine because when you start to get to the higher tiers like a Reserva and a Gran Reserva, the tannins increase because you're getting a more structured wine. You can actually get tannins in a wine from the barrel. So I figured kind of keeping it a little bit more early drinking, a little bit more fruit forward, it'd be a little bit more complementary with the bourbon.
Nice.
Oh, we would drink this with the bourbon.
Ooh, that's gonna be a rough night.
It's usually a rough night when she's
Yeah.
up.
Even rougher morning.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's nice.
What do you think? I mean, we've been talking about Spain.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
But you still get a lot of the fruit character. For me, this wine, the oak is a little bit more on the back end, but I think it'll work. If you don't like specifically find a Rioja or want to try something different with it, American style Zinfandel and Australian Shiraz would be 2 other recommendations I would say for this style of wing sauce. Yeah. All right.
I think she did a wonderful job.
I
in the
think
segment.
so.
Give it up.
Here, here.
Thanks, guys.
Stefano, wonderful.
I want
mean-
her to come to my next dinner party and talk about the pairing of the
You
wine
just
with the
whip
wings.
her out with your
Yeah, right.
238 recipes.
Yes, yes.
Oh, man.
I know.
Well, I have
It worked
6.
out for me.
I see. So I had 6 more tonight. I mean,
There you
the
go.
sauces, each one counts as one.
Okay, all right. So we're back after 3 years. I want to thank my studio audience for coming
Yeah.
out.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Check
Thank
out
you,
her
Dori.
segments on New England Cooks. And you've got your own delicatessen where you're, when it comes to canning, you got your segments up there too. So check out newenglandcooks.com. Now, We're gonna eat and drink, okay?
We're going to eat. We're going to thank you for being a wonderful audience.
All right,
Yes,
thanks.
thank you.
I have to do my own thing. And thank you for celebrating Tony's birthday.
Happy
with us.
birthday!
That's like third or fourth. All right, that's it. So,
Be well. Stay
no,
healthy.
stay healthy and safe.
All right. Thank you.